This is the panel on Texas transparency, but we're focusing today on open and free government information and on the renewal of accountability through transparency. And as the saying goes, sunlight is the best disinfectant. So without having the ability to open up, then there really is no ability. There's no sunshine, there's no sunlight, there's no way to have accountability. Information is power, right? And that's really what we're about here. There is a quote by David Garson in his book, Digital Government, Principles and Best Practices. He says, by getting closer to its customers, an open government allows its citizens to monitor agencies' performance and hopes to reimagine services by providing the most effective possible ways of delivering them seamlessly and increasing policy transparency to the public. So that really covers a lot, but it is true. We need to get closer to our customers in government. We need to have an open government where citizens can monitor what's going on, and we need to not just be delivering the same old stuff, right? We need to be using this technology to have the transparency and accountability, and also to deliver better products to people and to have transparency as far as public policy. And I think that all of that is doable today. It's getting there. Have we taken steps? Yes, we have. We have taken steps. And I believe that our mission in state government is to deliver information, and that the state of Texas, through its websites, must go to where the people are. And increasingly, people want to go beyond simply conducting government transactions online, and governments must adapt to new methods of interaction with the public. And that means transforming how they deliver information services. This is the expectation of the public, and I think it's a reasonable one, that the types of information that we are talking about are available online, and not just available. People want the Web 2.0 capabilities. They don't just want to have the information, but they want it in a format where they can data mine, where they can take these numbers and see what's going on, where you can have that true accountability. Throughout the 1990s, the Texas legislature, I was first elected in 1991, and that was also when, in that session, when the Texas Department of Information Resources was created, and the state of Texas, and it was interesting because in Texas it actually was the legislature that led the effort for online government, e-government as we called it, and having that online presence. And for instance, there were a variety of bills passed, and two of the bills that I passed in the 90s when I was in the legislature, one required, and now we look back and just laugh, but I actually passed a bill that required all state agencies to have email addresses, right? Yes, there was a time when state agencies did not have email addresses, so I passed a bill saying, okay, all state agencies have to have email addresses. I laugh now. Another one had to do with something that's incredibly important in our system of disclosure and our system of accountability and how we fund campaigns in the state. And I passed a bill that required candidates for political office to have what are called their contribution and expenditure reports, to submit those online. Because many of you, I'm sure, realize that some may not, that here in the state of Texas, there are no limits as far as campaign contributions. So somebody could be running for state senate, state representative, comptroller, whatever, and get, I don't know, $10,000 contribution. There are no limits here. And the system that we have here relies on disclosure. Well, it relied on disclosure, but we had a situation where what would happen is those campaign and contribution and expenditure reports would be filled out by hand, maybe on a typewriter. And some people, if they were really wanting to, I would call it game the system, you could put multiple names on a form, but they would put one name per form, for instance. And then they would get these box loads of this and take it down, right, to the Ethics Commission where it would sit. And so if you wanted to have knowledge of how campaigns are being funded and particular candidates, you had to be able to go down there, sift through all that, spend a lot of money having it photocopied. Okay? This is not something that the average Jane and the average Joe could do. for me personally, as soon as there was the capability to do my campaign contribution expenditure reports online, I thought, this is great. I can just sit down at the computer, do it, off it goes. I thought it was the most wonderful convenience. And I certainly believe that all that should be public. So, however, not everyone was using that. So I passed legislation that said, okay, now you will go online and file your contribution expenditure reports online. And now you can go to the Ethics Commission and everything is online and available to not just some people who in the past specialized in that information, but to, as I said, average Jane, average Joe who can get online. I understand that not everybody has that capability, but you can go to the library, you can go to the rec center now and get online and go to the Ethics Commission and see electronically those contribution expenditure reports. So I think that was a big step forward for transparency and accountability, particularly in the state of Texas, where we have, as I said, a system where we don't have contribution limits for campaigns, and we rely on this disclosure.